A day or two ago, news broke out that former Arizona State quarterback Jayden Daniels was going to be transferring to LSU. Now, this is a huge pickup for LSU, who has been really active over the last couple of months in the transfer portal. You look at Jayden Daniels, he has been the starting quarterback for the Sun Devils for the past 3 seasons. Last season for Arizona State, he threw for 2,380 passing yards. He threw 10 touchdowns to 10 interceptions while completing 65.4% of his passes. He also accounted for 710 rushing yards along with 6 rushing touchdowns. He was a former 4-star recruit coming out of high school. And when you look at Jayden Daniels, he is a pretty big name if you are somebody who pays a lot of attention, or you have paid a lot of attention to Pac-12 football, because he got on a lot of people's radars after his 2019 season, which was his true freshman season with Arizona State, where he completed 60.7% of his passes, throwing for 2,943 passing yards, along with 17 touchdowns to only 2 interceptions. And many people, including myself, thought that Jayden Daniels was going to end up being the next big thing. And his 2020 season wasn't bad. However, it didn't really go the way that a lot of people thought, considering how successful his freshman season was. And then last season wasn't all that great. Obviously, you look at the current state of the Arizona State football program right now and what they're going through right now as a football program, which was probably part of the reason why Jayden Daniels opted to hit the transfer portal in the first place. On top of that, Arizona State didn't really have a lot of consistency when it came to their receiving core. There were a lot of drops, wide receivers who struggled to create separation, struggled to get off the line. So if Jayden Daniels going to LSU, he's going to be playing with blue chip talent. He's going to be playing with Keyshawn Boutte. Hopefully, if he doesn't opt to transfer or sit out, he's going to be playing with one of the best wide receivers in all of college football. So that's going to be an added bonus. And he's going to be playing with a head coach who happens to be one of the best head coaches in college football, and Brian Kelly. Now, the starting job for Jayden Daniels is not a guarantee. As a matter of fact, who's going to be the starting quarterback for LSU going into the 2022 college football season with spring football around the corner? Now, Jayden Daniels is going to be in competition with Myles Brennan and Gunnar Nussmeier. Now, Gunnar Nussmeier, we haven't really seen that much of him. He appeared in a couple of games, but we're mainly speculating that this quarterback competition is going to come down to Myles Brennan and Jayden Daniels. Now, Myles Brennan has been with the LSU football program for a good amount. He's been with the team for at least 4 years, I believe. However, he doesn't have a lot of experience. He hasn't started in a lot of games. Now, the reason for this was due to injuries, but also Myles Brennan hit the transfer portal. But you know what's funny is that he hit the transfer portal and he came back to LSU. LSU offered him a spot back on the team. So when Myles Brennan, transferred back to LSU, or, withdrew his name from the transfer portal, whatever he did, there was a speculation that, Myles Brennan was going to be the starting quarterback, or at least that there was going to be a quarterback competition between him and Gunnar, which we speculated, Myles Brennan to end up being the victor. However, now that you have Jayden Daniels in the fold, this is going to be a really intriguing quarterback battle. Now, of course, everybody most likely is probably going to be rooting for Jayden Daniels because he's more talented than Myles Brennan, has way more upside, and the mobility is there. And you look at the fact that Jayden Daniels has way more starting experience than Myles Brennan, which is something that's kind of unusual when you look at how long Myles Brennan has been part of the LSU football program. And Myles Brennan isn't a bad quarterback in my opinion. I just think that, he kind of has been in a bad situation where he has been dealt a bad hand. He has kind of been, in a situation where he's been unlucky with the whole injury situation that he has had going on with him. So for Jayden Daniels, this is a really good opportunity for him to seize the starting quarterback job for LSU. And then on top of that, improve his draft stock, because if Jayden Daniels has a really good season for LSU in 2022 this year, he's most likely going to be a first-round pick. But I don't think that this job is already set in stone and that is going to be Jayden Daniels, because Jayden Daniels, in a lot of people's eyes, is kind of, going to be viewed as hit or miss. Like, you see what he did freshman year, and you see the potential, and obviously you see the talent. However, he has been heavily inconsistent. And, Arizona State kind of held him back with the inconsistency that they had from the wide receiver play and the play calling. However, Jayden Daniels' decision-making was pretty questionable at times. His accuracy was kind of a little bit erratic when he had pressure in his face. And in big games, sometimes he didn't show up. So for LSU fans, what Jayden Daniels are you going to get? Are you going to get a Jayden Daniels that is going to be better than what he was when he was starting his true freshman season at Arizona State in 2019? Or are you going to get a Jayden Daniels that showed you what he showed you in 2021? Really inconsistent, some high moments and some low moments and some really, really low moments. Like, what are you going to get out of Jayden Daniels? Because, if you get the Jayden Daniels from 2019 or even a better version of that Jayden Daniels, LSU may be a threat to win the SEC West, because this team, even though they're getting a lot of players from the transfer portal, with Jayden Daniels at quarterback, if he plays up to the level of expectations that I have for him and he plays up to his potential, LSU could be a 9-10 win team in year one under Brian Kelly. However, if he's inconsistent, then you may continue to have some more concerns at the quarterback position. On top of that, there's a high chance that not all three guys are going to remain on the roster. So if Jayden Daniels doesn't play out, then you may have to go to another quarterback who you may not be all that confident in, because whoever loses may end up being in the transfer portal again. Now, for Myles Brennan, if he ends up starting, which I think there's a good chance that he does end up starting, because even though we haven't seen a lot of Myles Brennan, he has a very limited sample size. You like what you've seen out of Myles Brennan in the small sample size that you have for him. He's pretty accurate. He's pretty solid in the pocket. However, he doesn't have the athleticism and athletic ability that Jayden Daniels possesses. However, you can win games with Myles Brennan. It really just comes down to, what Jayden Daniels does during spring camp. Is Jayden Daniels going to flash? Is he going to remain consistent? But also, what if Myles Brennan ends up, balling out and starting over Jayden Daniels? Is Jayden Daniels going to wait a year for his opportunity, or is he going to be right back in the transfer portal? Because we've seen a lot of these situations play out where we've seen a guy transfer in before spring, then after spring, they're right back in the transfer portal again, searching for a new place to call home. But me personally, if I had to make a prediction, I will probably put my money on Jayden Daniels. I think Jayden Daniels is a really good quarterback, and I think he has potential to be not only one of the best quarterbacks in this conference, but one of the best quarterbacks in college football this season, because he's going to be in a better situation than what he was in with Arizona State. Everything that they have going on from the coaching staff and, an organization standpoint. So that also didn't help him out. The lack of talent that they had. Now, at LSU, he has all the pieces to be successful. It really just depends on him. Can he put it all together? I think that he will. I expect Jayden Daniels to be the starting quarterback of the LSU Tigers going into the 2022 college football season. But you guys let me know how you guys feel about the Jayden Daniels, Myles Brennan quarterback competition. Who do you guys think is going to end up winning? Do you guys think that Nussmeier may surprise us all and may end up being the winner of the quarterback battle? But you guys let me know how you guys feel about Jayden Daniels transferring to LSU, and who do you think will be their starting quarterback come fall.